Good morning, Ranger Nation. Episode 6 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers was a good episode, I think. No long winded exposition, no stupid themes like Valentine's Day or Christmas or whatever have you. This was pretty straightforward. And we finally got to see the Megazord. That only took 6 episodes, but we finally got to see it. We opened with the Rangers uh, testing and flying their custom built model rockets. Of course, these are probably some of the best looking model rockets I've ever seen. Nice and shiny and futuristic looking. Um, Robbie, the Blue Ranger's, his rocket was beautiful and worked perfectly. The Red Ranger's rocket, not so much. Robbie, the Blue Ranger, was teasing him for putting the fins in the wrong place on the rocket. And if you see the episode, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I've never exactly seen a rocket like that before either. There's no way in hell that thing should have been able to get as far as it actually did when testing it. But of course, as he fires the rocket, it does not fly properly and crashes right back down to Earth. And he is upset that Robbie basically called him out on what was wrong, tells him to drop it. I mean, that's a little bit of a weird thing to get upset about. I mean, obviously, the Red Ranger is going to has trouble admitting when he's wrong, considering he's the team's leader. We also had a dumb little thing where Ben and Betty also have a rocket. It is their father's model rocket. And of course, before they fire it, they pull a little bit too hard on the cord and it tips the platform, or rather moves the platform that the rocket is sitting on and tips the rocket, and as it fires, it nearly takes Ben and Betty's head off. Well, the rocket then proceeds to chase them. Again, for some reason in Power Rangers, these comedy duos, they have like apparently a bullseye painted right on their foreheads because everything seems to go after them, even when has no reason to. This rocket, they didn't say that it locked on to heat signatures or anything like that, or targeted anyone in particular. Usually, when a rocket goes haywire, it just flies off in one direction. It might make a loop, and then it's going to crash into something. It's not going to go one way, turn completely around, and go back the other way, and literally chase these two wherever they're going. It just doesn't work that way. Well, they crash their father's rocket and are upset that it's damaged. But at least they find it. Cut to the cyber dimension, where Blaze, Roxy, and Scrozzle are talking with Evox, and Evox is none too pleased that the Rangers were able to capture a Gigadrone. Understandable. If I was Evox, I'd be pretty pissed too. Well, Blaze basically got the shaft in this episode. I don't think Evox wanted him to have anything to do with trying to retake the Gigadrone, and that's basically what he charges Roxy and Scrozzle with doing, is stealing back the Gigadrone that the Power Rangers had previously stolen. Well, they are keeping the Gigadrone in a secret hangar underground, hence the title of this episode, Hangar Heist. Nate, the junior scientist at Grid Battle Force, is collecting data on the Gigadrone that they stole from Evox, and has figured out a new system that will warn the Rangers before a Gigadrone is teleported into the city. Well, if anyone has seen Tokome Sentai Go Busters, the Japanese counterpart to this series, you'll know that they had that right from the get-go. They were able to detect when one of their Megazords, or Gigadrones, if you will, were being transported from the cyber dimension. But again, they already had that. But here, it's a process. It's a developmental thing, I suppose. But anyway, cut to the Rangers in simulation, a battle simulation to form the Megazord for the first time. Well, Devin, he decides that we should attack simultaneously while trying to form the Megazord. Well, just doesn't really work that way. Anyone who's seen Power Rangers or Super Sentai knows that the Megazords can't attack and form at the same time. That just doesn't work that way. And Robbie, being the veteran of this team with the most training, says that Devin needs to put up the shields while forming the Megazord, and that makes more sense. The simulation fails because of Devin, and Robbie basically says, "I told you so," and this simulation worked fine with Roxy and Blaze. Well, we all know that they are now bad guys, evil avatars created by Evox. Well, Devin understandably gets mad, and between the rocket ordeal and the simulation problem, he now thinks that he can't trust his team for some reason, or rather that his team doesn't trust him. Trust issues. Anyway, Roxy just basically finds the secret hangar. There's no clue that leads her there. None of the Rangers or anyone who works for Grid Battle Force leads her to it. It just cuts to the scene where she finds the secret hangar door, which is just okay. Well, in this very same area is where Ben and Betty find their father's crashed rocket. Ben makes a comment that, look, one of the engines didn't fire. Okay. Well, as they're carrying it away, they see Roxy at the hangar door, then proceed to call and warn the Rangers. And they head to the scene. But as Ben and Betty are trying to flee the scene so Roxy doesn't discover them, Roxy discovers them. And she proceeds to fire at them. Instead of hitting them, which I kind of wish she would have, she hits the unfired rocket. What are the chances of that? The unfired engine on their father's rocket. As they're both holding it, the rocket flies out of their arms, and the parachute cords wrap around their ankles and take them shooting into the air. Dead. They should be dead. It just shows them flying off into space, basically. Doesn't show them landing or crashing, just shows them flying off, screaming. They should be dead. They're not dead. Damn it. Anyway, the Rangers arrive at the scene after Roxy and a newly built robot with acid capabilities melt the door to the hangar, and they both get inside to refuel the stolen Gigadrone to obviously break out and attack the city once again. Well, just as they are refueling the Gigadrone, all three Rangers show up, they morph, and the battle ensues. Well, Roxy has a plan to trap the Rangers within the hangar. That way, they can escape, and their Gigadrones can steal Morphex energy uninterrupted. Well, this would have worked if Robbie hadn't just basically taken Devin by the belt and threw him out of the hangar doors as they were closing, sealing Robbie and Zoe inside with the acid drone, acid bot. I don't even know what they called him. And they battle inside the hangar. Well, Devin gets out and summons his Racer Zord and to form his Battle Zord to pry open the hangar doors to release the trapped Rangers. Well, Scrozzle decides to send another Megazord, another Gigadrone, to help release the recaptured Slicer bot. So now there are two Gigadrones that Devin has to deal with on his own, but he doesn't deal with them on his own completely. Even after getting his sword, his Racer Zord's sword completely melted by the acid wielding Gigadrone, the commander of Grid Battle Force decides to send in Jax and oh goodness, what was the gorilla's name? I keep forgetting the gorilla's name. The gorilla to pilot their Zords in manually and help out Devin. Well, just as this is happening, Devin ends up getting the hangar doors open by redirecting the Gigadrone's acid spray to the door to melt it, and that's when Robbie and Zoe are able to jump and make their escape. They are caught by their Zords, of course, and this is when they proceed to form the Megazord for the very, very first time. And like I said, it only took 6 episodes. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Usually the Megazord is formed by the 2nd episode, if not the 1st. And just like Tokime Sentai Go Busters, the Japanese counterpart to this series, the Megazord is awesome. I love the way it looked. I always did. However, even though they got the morphing sequence right, the Megazord sequence correct, and Devin decided to use the shields as he was recommended to do by Robbie instead of attacking, of course, the Megazord transformation works. But once again, they finish the fight with a sword finishing maneuver that is initiated by a blast, by a gun-style weapon blast. I mean, I've been complaining about this for the last few episodes, the fact that the Red Ranger's finishing attack is a sword maneuver, but it's initiated by his Cheetah Blaster. It just makes no sense to initiate a sword maneuver with a gun. It doesn't make any sense. Again, I understand that he's sitting in a small cockpit and he's not standing and there's no real room to swing a sword around. But still, why do you have to have a weapon inside the cockpit to control the weapon on the outside of the Megazord? I don't understand it. Shouldn't it just be as simple as throwing a lever or a switch, hitting a button, something? Why does it have to be an extra peripheral? Again, just because Hasbro wants to sell more toys. Toys which I can't find, by the way, and I already did a video on that last week, mentioning why we still can't find Beast Morpher toys widely available in the U.S. yet. So I have no idea. But like I said in that video, May 1st, I believe, is when it's going to go. The toy line will go national, and more everyone, the general public, not just a few privileged YouTubers, will get their hands on these toys. But obviously, they defeat the bad guy, and at the very end of the episode was the Rangers apologizing to each other, saying that Devin, he should have trusted him to begin with, blah, blah, blah. And of course, we go back to more model rocket flying. The Rangers apparently had rebuilt Ben and Betty's rocket. Again, we didn't see them land. They should have been dead. But no, here they come walking into a field blindfolded by the Red Ranger for the surprise for them. How did they land safely? Not that I care about these two characters, but at least, I'd like to know how they got out of a situation to where most people would have been dead. Ugh. Okay, that's it. That's how the episode ends, believe it or not. Just, surprise, we fixed your model rocket, and it actually flies properly now, so. That was episode 6, Hangar Heist, Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode down below. Like I said, no over-exposition, no stupid theme, just a straightforward episode, which which was paced rather well, actually. Again, some inconsistencies, some strange editing, and it seemed like it was a little fragmented, like a few things were missing here and there, like with Roxy just finding the secret hangar door. Again, I just don't know how she just finds it. It just cuts to her finding it. Well, again, watch it for yourself. You'll see exactly what I mean. Um, but yeah, until my next video, guys, this was Rangers Ready Go. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. You all know the deal. And I will see you all with my next video. Later.